Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carissa Eats Rocks, and today I'm going to be making a detailed crafting guide. This is going to detail everything that can be made using the crafting system and its use case, as well as why I personally think it's very important, especially for newer players. Without further ado, let's get into it. So each individual type of equipment will have its very own kind of stat, along with having one extra random roll, depending on the rarity of the actual item itself. So, for example, Ruby Silver right over here gives innately physical damage reduction, and it gives one more random roll than Epic Grade. So, as you can see here, 4 random rolls. Cobalt gives armor penetration, and on certain pieces magical penetration, depending on the type of piece it is, and rolls for 3 instead of the usual 2 that rare items will give. Golden plate armor gives a little bit of luck and some magical damage reduction, and very similarly to Ruby Silver, rolls 4. Copper light gear gives a little bit of movement speed bonus and rolls for 2 instead of 1. And frostlight armor will rather than actually giving you any stats, it will reduce the move speed debuff of the armor you are using. Sometimes the clothing traders will actually offer gear that doesn't use ore and rather uses drops from mobs. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of those. The leathersmith actually has a couple of these, which I am showing right now. To go do them quickly, we'll call it drops from wolves. Brave essence drops from undead enemies. Bones drop from skeletons. Centaur's tails drops from centaurs. Very similar crafting recipes here. Maggots drop from undead enemies. Broken skulls drop from skeletons. Troll pelt drops from the troll. I honestly would not suggest using it on this piece of armor, and just use it to make a gold coin bag. It's not worth it. Demon clad leggings uses old cloth, which is found from a variety of enemies. Moving on to the tailor. Tailor has such similar armor. Most of these are a part of a set here that use the same exact recipe, so I'm just going to go over them very quickly. Spider silk is dropped from the giant spiders that are found in the goblin caves. They are also found in a module that I can't remember the name of in ruins. They spawn pretty rarely from what I am getting at here. I've barely found any spider silk at all. But on the other hand, enchanted dark fabric drops pretty commonly from the skeleton mages that you find throughout the several modules of both Frost, Mountain, and Ruins, Crypts, and Inferno. This is a quick look at all the items of the Darkness set. Moving on, Dark Matter Tunic. This is the only... actually, no lie, it's not the only. This is one of 2 boss clothing armors that are in the game. This one uses dark matter, which dropped from the Lich, and the same kind of materials as the Darkness set. This is what it looks like. Pretty cool. Then we have, wherever it may be, I actually might not have it unlocked. There is a Frost Wyvern set of a Barbarian armor, which I'll pop up on the screen here right now. It uses these materials to make it, and isn't actually that bad. I would suggest crafting this if you find the pelt off the wyvern. Moving on. So this is actually take 3 of me trying to say Brave Hunter's Pants. Brave Hunter's Pants. So Brave Hunter's Pants is a very useful bit of armor, and I do run a rant on about it a little bit. It uses enchanted dark fabric and Cyclops rags. Cyclops rags drop from Cyclops if it wasn't already obvious, and this is the only piece of armor that innately has a bit of debuff duration bonus, and this is actually quite a useful stat, which can be used to negate most curses and debuffs in the game, as well as completely troll cheat. Wow. This can also be used to completely cheese the cave troll, making the boss significantly easier than it already is. Tri-pelt Dublate, bit of agility. Uses a troll pelt. I think this is better than the barbarian armor, but I don't think it's still worth it. That being said, that is basically all the armors. Nothing I wanted to know, actually, now I think about it. The tailor also has some cloaks, exclusive to him only. Here's what they look like. And they use a bit of powder, and the Cloak of Darkness uses the same material as the entire Darkness set uses. Alright, that's all. So the weaponsmith has a very big variety of weapons here, which can be categorized in a couple of different ways. So we have the ore weapons, which are crafted with ores, obviously. You have boss weapons, which are used from boss drops. And then you have basic mob drop crafts. In essence, to tell you where everything comes from, this is the Cyclops weapon. Uses a Cyclops club, which drops from the Cyclops, obviously. Centaur's Madness drops from the Centaur. The Bowstring drops from archers. Lightbringer. This actually drops from the Golem. This drops from skeletons. Captured Mana Flakes drops from Wisps. Skulls drop from skeletons. Demon's Glee. Demon Blood drops from all demons. Bone drops from undead. Spear of Rot. Run Fluid drop from zombies, and Moldy Bread drops from a variety of enemies. Troll's Bane. Block drop from direwolves and frost wolves. Skeletons. And this is a kind of uncommon troll item. Void Blade uses Dark Matter, which is dropped from the Lich. Cyclops Vision Crystal uses AI, which is dropped from the Cyclops, and a little bit of Grave Essence, which is dropped from undead enemies. Grimslayer uses the Warlord's Broken Sword Blade, dropped by the Warlord. Sovereign's Ghost Blade uses Ghostly Essence and a little bit of Grave Essence. Ghostly Essence is dropped by the Ghost King. Essence is by undead enemies. Ice Fang is the Frost Wyvern's Claws, which is dropped by the Wyvern. Toma Shoal uses Volcanic Ash, which drops from mages, and the Demon's Blood, which drops from demons. Staff of Gluttony drops from the Wendigo, and the Mimic Tongue drops from the Mimics. Potion of Honor. Token of Honor drops from Skeleton Champions, and the Rusty Broken Swords drop from most skeletons. I don't think I missed anything. Let me know if I did. Most of these enemies use a type of ore. For example, Lightbringer uses gold. Actually, a majority of these weapons use gold. These silver weapons use silver, both silver powder and silver ingots. Silver is gotten by getting a bunch of silver coins and then melting them down into ingots or powder if you're using the alchemist. Golden weapons, which I don't honestly think are very good. And gold is gotten from after you kill the Cyclops and Troll. There's a sensor room that you're able to enter under the Cave Pit Hall, which has quite a bit of nodes of gold. There's also a couple of Frostlight weapons. Frostlight is gotten from the Wyvern after you kill her, and there's a small room that you can enter that has a couple of nodes of Frostlight. Finally, with the alchemist here, he makes both rings, necklaces, and potions, along with some other utility items. These are made by herbs that you find throughout the dungeons. I do plan on making a herbology video in the future, which will detail the exact locations, but just as a general guideline, Life Leaf for now is found in Inferno. Phantom Flower is found in the ruins and in crypts. Wordweed is found in Goblin Caves, and so on and so forth. The necklace here isn't really that good in my opinion. I think it's kind of a waste of a feather. But I mean, if you already have the Cockatrice quest done and you have the materials for it, go ahead. I think there's better options. The Grimspell, on the other hand, is probably one of the best rings in the game. With its vigor and strength, along with a little bit of luck, which is kind of a dead stat, but whatever. You also get 4 rolls to basically have whatever you want if you spec it in. If you get real lucky, you get plus all attributes on top of all this. All around, these are really good rings and good on most classes. The Crystal Frost rings I haven't really found a use case for yet. These are, I guess they're pretty good for casters, honestly. If you want to replace that strength with a little bit of magical power, these are also a pretty decent option. The main caveat being the Frozen Hearts, which are pretty rare. I would say they're honestly a little bit easier though to get than the Grimsmells, just because of how hard it is right now to get gold. It's a big pain in the butt unless you want to dish out the money, so I mean it's something to consider. Ghost Dust pouches use Phantom Flowers and Blue Eyeballs, which are from Direwolves. I haven't really seen these used, but maybe someone can find a proper use for them. I tend to find that rogues attack me before I even get the opportunity to use this, so I don't really know. Poison Balls, on the other hand, are actually a pretty decent utility item and can kind of entirely deny an area, depending on where they are. This is essentially just the zombie fart cloud, and very cheap Life Leaf, which are bought in the market very easily, and Rotten Foods, which are found from zombies. This makes for a decently cheap item that can be made in mass and completely deny an area from an enemy team pushing you. The value in crafting comes simply in the fact of its rolls. In essence, when you are crafting something, you get +1 roll more than that rarity, along with a innate stat. What this does is essentially just get you a what is basically just a legendary item for, let's say, Cobalt here, for the cost of basically nothing. Because not only are you getting that guaranteed stat of armor penetration, but you're also getting 3 random rolls, which are, mind you, extremely cheap to socket in because of the fact that it's a rare grade item. The cost of this being, you have slightly less armor and a little bit of that less stat that comes with the armor. That's how I see it. I think that it's extremely valuable, and I think crafting is probably one of the best things for a newer player to do if they want to get kitted up quickly. This is essentially just a better epic grade item. This is essentially just a better legendary item. This is essentially just a better rare item, and so on and so forth. The value is insane, especially considering it takes me so little time to get this armor. In a little bit, I'm going to show you a couple of clips of me just mining, and it's going to be sped up quite a bit, just to show you how long it took exactly for me to get everything together. I sped everything up by about, I think, 300% or 500%, I don't exactly remember. I'll put the number up on the screen right here. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So, all in all, these 4 runs that I did, I think I only recorded 3 of them. Took me about maybe 20-ish minutes total. I did 2 in PvE and 2 in PvP. You tend to get quite a bit more ore inside of the PvP dungeons, as the drop rates are significantly higher, but of course comes the caveat of having to fight other players, and right now Goblin Caves is essentially just arena. If you want me to be entirely honest, it's kind of a hellhole, which is why I did not stick around there very long. You tend to get more ore, but I personally don't think it's worth it in some situations. Maybe when gear score is more equalized, it'll be much more fair, but right now, fighting legendary kids just trying to mine ore. And now you're probably wondering to yourselves right now, Chris, why don't you just get the actual armor itself that's worth legendary instead of doing all this effort to get a couple of pieces of armor? And my main answer is that generally this is lower risk, and for newer players this might be the perfect way to try to get gear. Trying to get legendaries and PvP right now considering majority of players do not have the Legendary Edition, they aren't going to be able to get his gear as easily, going all the way down to Inferno to try to farm it, when they can just go into Goblin Caves and get it for not really that long of a time. Not to mention, it's way cheaper to try to socket it into exactly how you want to tailor your kit. I think there's more downsides to just going all the way down as a newer player rather than just doing this. The time input is relatively the same, and to be honest, it's quite fun. I enjoy mining, and I do it for gold as well, and I make a couple thousand just off doing stuff like this and selling the product. This is the run that I did in PvP. As you might be able to see, I mined the nodes for a little bit longer. It's because I'm getting more ore. Luckily, I didn't find much combat here, and I did actually run into a friendly side. I think it was pretty cool. Awesome. Now, this is just a video of me making my kit. Very simple. You can either buy your armor directly from the armorer, or you could buy it off the market. It's also not really that hard to find inside of the dungeon itself, which could be taken account for SSF. Actually, a good thing to know. Crafted gear is probably some of the best gear you can get in SSF really easily, considering you don't have any access to the market at all. You're gonna see me in a bit buy some gems for socketing, but if you were to defeat one of the troll bosses, or the Goblin Cave bosses, and just loot the horde there, or loot some of the hordes down in Inferno, or Ice Abyss, etc., you'll get the gems you need for this armor to socket it to however you want in like not even a run or two. Like getting bis like this is insanely crazy, especially for how low the cost is. Definitely something to consider for the upcoming SSF wipe coming in later this month. But yeah. I am going to skip over some of the repetitiveness. A lot of this video is just me crafting and socketing gear. I'll give a final showcase of everything at the very end. So this right here is the goldsmith, and in return for a couple of gems depending on the rarity of your armor, you can actually select the stats you get on that armor. Like I said earlier, gems spawn in hordes and chests. The deeper down you go in a dungeon, the easier it is to get this. Right now, I think the easiest horde to hit is the sensor module in Frost mode. So you could definitely hit that up, and even in PvE, you'll get more than enough to suffice for this kit, along with whatever else you may need for any other armor pieces you find out in the dungeons. Goldsmith is actually quite powerful. Even though he got nerfed, he's still extremely good even now. I definitely consider you check him out. He's gonna save you later on. So this is just some footage of me selling the lockpicks that I crafted from the iron ore that I mined. And it actually makes you quite a bit of money. Like right here alone, I got 1,000 from I think 4 runs of not even focusing on iron ore. If you were to lock in on exclusively finding iron ore, you could be getting up to thousands just by mining. Not to mention what you get from, you know, looting in the dungeons. Without further ado, that is going to be everything from this video today. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.